Welcome back to Talk Tuah, the companion podcast to Haliey Welch's Talk Tuah. We're your hosts. I'm Cam.
And I'm Pete.
And today we are covering a pretty lore-heavy episode, quite the bombastic.
Extremely dense.
Yeah.
And a lot of that lore actually came after this episode was recorded, it seems like.
Well, so the episode was with Brianna Chickenfry.
Yeah, very, in the news kind of figure at the moment.
And Grace O'Malley.
Yep. Two co-hosts of the Plan Brie Uncut podcast on the Barstool Network.
Previous
hosts.
co-hosts.
There seems to have been a falling out since this episode with Haliey Welch was recorded.
Which was a devastating blow to the podcast community. That one hit hard.
That was a crown jewel within the Barstool Sports Network and then at large in the entire podcasting universe.
Dave Portnoy is hurting right now if you don't know him or Barstool Sports. They're like the Deadpool of podcasts.
That's
just
right.
Incredible. Really just fantastic.
Yeah.
Overall.
They're just like easygoing, appeal to, people who just like to have fun.
Yeah.
I think is probably the best way to sum it up. And what's better than a fun podcast?
Yeah. Bars no hold.
What?
Holds no bar.
Holds no bar. Yeah.
Yes.
It stools no bar. I guess so. I guess that's what you're going for. Brianna, she also was in the news. I think if I have my dates correct, this episode dropped the day her ex announced a breakup.
And her ex, Luke Bryan from the Luke Bryan band.
You got that almost right. So there's it's Zach Bryan.
From the Zach Bryan
And
band.
there's a Zach Brown band, I think is what maybe you're thinking of.
Zach Bryan. Oh, he's a solo country.
As far as I know, I listen to a lot of older country. I can't say I'm as, attuned to the newer country wave.
I hate to get that wrong. It's just, if he doesn't have a podcast, I'm probably not all caught up to his lore.
You're not listening to him in the car. Like Brianna said, she doesn't listen to much country music, any of the contemporary country stars, right, when she goes in her car. But
no, the signs were there that they were going to break up. So, okay, so let's just map this out, because there's probably people listening that maybe they've been living under a rock.
It's possible.
And they've never heard of Brianna Chickenfry and Grace O'Malley's hit awesome podcast.
Yeah, and I hate to stray away from covering like specifically Haliey's podcast, but I think this is relevant.
It ties in for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brianna was in a relationship with Zach Bryan. Okay, again, it's I'm sorry, but
I think there is a Luke Bryan.
Unless you're a podcaster, really.
Yeah. I think there's a Luke Bryan, there's like a Luke Combs. I think there's like a couple guys, all similar
Some
connecting
Lukes out
names.
there.
Yeah, but Zach Bryan is...
But they were in a relationship, and they dated for
2 years, maybe?
Yeah, not that long.
Maybe it was just a year.
So yeah, the gist was that Zach Bryan was pretty emotionally abusive to Brianna Chickenfry. He would, as she said, take his phone, throw it, smash it.
Yeah.
I think there was just general competition. Like, she would go out and to like premieres and stuff like that. He would be jealous.
There'd be petty feelings involved.
For sure. Yeah. And then, on one occasion, she remarked he screamed at her friends and made them cry. And then, on top of all this guy offers her a $12 million contract to sign an NDA for the relationship, meaning she couldn't say anything, no details.
An expensive NDA, and she turned it down.
She turned it down?
She refused to sign this.
Okay, so now to get back to present.
Yeah.
Brianna and Grace come on Talk Tuah.
Yeah, they do.
Now, this day, the day after they broke up?
No, well, I don't know when this episode was filmed versus when it was released, but it was released on the day of Zach making the breakup public.
Gotcha.
His and Brianna Chickenfry's breakup. It was, I think, October 22nd, and the date this episode with Haliey came out.
Yeah, and now our episode coming out today. And look, this is still relevant because people are mourning it to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, the podcast community is hurting, especially with Grace's departure from Barstool. I think that came as a huge shock to a lot of people.
Well, yeah, and it's just the podcasting community is probably grieving beside Brianna, just because she's been through so much this year. She's a incredibly gifted podcaster, and it's tough to see one of her own going through such a rough patch. I mean, hopefully, I trust that she'll come out of this stronger and better than ever, ready to podcast like a pro, like she always does.
I think so, and I would hope that she and Grace could really sort out their differences. And
yeah, that would be ideal.
Because again, this episode was the episode of duos, right? I think we have the wide shot and then it's 2 shots, no close-ups.
No.
It felt really cool. It was like teams.
Yeah, let's break down the teams. So we had Grace and Brianna Chickenfry on one team,
which were very much to me like Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, I guess that does make more sense because it's like I guess they're technically enemies right now, but
yeah,
they were working together in this episode.
The timeline, I think Brianna Chickenfry definitely is more the Deadpool type.
Yeah.
She's just so quick with it. And then, she's ruthless, doesn't give a fuck. And then Grace is certainly Wolverine. I mean, she will rip you a new one.
Yeah.
She's a roaster.
Yeah, she really is.
I think she's pretty deadly with crowd work. Yeah. I could see her being a disciple of Matt Rife's.
They're supposedly both from Boston, but I think Grace was, graced with more of the fighting edge. And then we had Haliey and Chelsea, the typical co-hosts of Talk Tuah.
Which was incredible, that shot, because I feel like Chelsea kind of gets it feels like she has the third wheel unfairly.
Yeah.
In a lot of these episodes, and this one she's sitting right next to Haliey. That felt incredible.
And you could feel the energy was just heightened. Like it
was buzzing.
Yeah, I don't know what producers are behind this show, like separating these two, but the closer they are, the better the episodes. Yeah. I just like to see, because it's like they're best friends. They've been going through this whole journey together. It's like, why put them on opposite sides of the room?
And I think one of my favorite things about this episode was seeing them converse with the Boston girls.
Yeah.
Right? Because, it's cool to hear a Boston perspective on a podcast. Most people in Boston grow up to become one of 2 things: a teamster or a podcaster in Barstool Sports.
That's right.
So, I mean, they were certainly repping one of the original colonies hard as hell, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. It was a big old Boston Tea Party, it felt like here, without the insurrection.
Can I get into one critique?
Yeah, go
just about the framing. I think you were feeling this too. I noticed Grace and Chelsea were in smaller chairs.
Yeah.
Maybe it was no one really noticed, but you know what I like to say? When you're watching content where everything is packed full of meaning, nothing goes without thought.
Yeah, it's our jobs, like literally as the companion podcast analysts, to pick up on these things. So we are going to be keenly attuned to the small details like that.
But it's also like on set for them. What I'm saying is like, when you're making that kind of masterpiece media, everything is really accounted for.
Oh, absolutely.
You're looking at everything in the viewfinder. Everything has been scripted. Everything has been thought out.
Yeah.
So
it's executed with precision.
I was kind of shocked to see that.
Yeah, it's like, why were they riding sidecar to Brianna Chickenfry and Haliey?
And then I also didn't. This is a very technical note. I think this is more in the editing department. Obviously, it starts with the camera team, which these guys are jagaloons.
Yeah, as we've covered before.
They are mercenaries. They're brutal.
Yeah.
Right? And the frame, I almost say, let's correct it 0.5% on a rotation scale.
Yeah.
Like, just pump it up. It's slanted.
It felt like they were on the deck of a ship that was slightly sliding. All the furniture was just sliding slightly to the right.
I'd say it's the Titanic, but in this case, it's probably more of the Mayflower on a rocky going to Boston. Yeah,
that tracks.
It was certainly so. Check out the frames, guys. See if you notice it.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry. I was just going to comment on the blue wall.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
The blue wall behind Haliey is a nice light baby blue.
Okay.
Chelsea's side of the wall is like a dark, kind of muddy blue.
I do wonder if that was maybe the gaffer's decision to light it that way. It felt like more of like a lighting versus shadows kind of, decision that went into that.
Well, I don't know how experienced the gaffer is, and I feel like he is in cahoots with the camera team, given that he blew a fuse halfway through the episode.
Yeah, right behind Brianna Chickenfry.
We see a light come on out of nowhere.
Yeah.
In a back room, and then it just goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this guy did his voltage maps or whatever. I don't even know what kind of a lunchbox this guy is using to power set, because he clearly didn't do the right math.
Yeah.
You can't be just overloading circuits like that.
Yeah, because it's going to be disorienting to the viewer. I would say that felt more like a misstep in the direction of the episode. But
and I do wonder, there was a guy throughout the entire episode.
I think there were multiple guys.
There were multiple guys, and I almost now wonder if they were grips going down to the basement to check on the circuitry, because this gaffer, clearly so
blowing
inexperienced,
fuses.
blowing fuses all over the place, did not know how to light a set.
Yeah, that's right. There was a guy who was just descending a staircase in the background behind Grace and Brianna Chickenfry a number of times throughout the episode, and at first, I think I mistook him maybe for an extra. I thought he was just an extra who was on set to add some more energy to the scenery. But your theory now, and I can totally see this, is that maybe he was an electrician.
It could have been a team. It could have been a team of grips for sure, but I'm not sure. I mean, they had a backpack on.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a grip, we'd probably see him carrying C-stands, or going down with some stingers, or whatever.
I thought it was a Ghostbuster at first.
Well, you know what? There was a whole group of these guys, and one of them stuck his head out like a little whack-a-mole within a lit room. It was truly a vignette of him. It was unbelievable. It was like the Fiddler on the Roof, coming out, popping out to see if he was ready.
Yeah.
If the stage was ready for this actor, and nope.
Yeah.
Because this is a podcast studio.
Yeah.
And where's the security, by the way? Because where are they shooting?
In the Bolero, which is crucial. Interesting. So this is their second outing to the Bolero in Times Square in New York City. It's a bowling alley that they were able to rent out to record now 2 episodes of Talk Tuah. But yeah, I do wonder who these extra, guys in the background were. Keep in mind, there's the one guy who walked. I thought he came from the craft services table. He was carrying a nice meal of Raising Cane's chicken.
Yeah.
He walked behind Brianna Chickenfry and Grace at one point, carrying what looked like his lunch. I'm sure he did 8 hours of work and was finally eligible to get some lunch.
Well, it's every 6 hours.
It's 6 hours. Okay.
You got to feed them.
I do get that mixed up.
On a union set, keep in mind they were recording this in New York City.
Yeah. I get my 8s and 6s mixed up.
I don't believe that's a right to work state.
No.
If they were filming down south, obviously the set rules would have been different.
Yeah.
But no, it could have been a grip, an extra, any crew member that, wrapping up their day early and just walks right in front of the cameras. Cam up, totally oblivious.
Yeah.
Right? Camera team, this is true extortion.
But they weren't asleep at the wheel this episode. I mean, they made a number of crash zooms.
They did, certainly taking a note out of Hitchcock's book.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was watching Vertigo at one point.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this behavior was quite an improvement from the Mark Cuban episode in which the cam op waited a whopping hour and 5 minutes to make a camera adjustment.
He sure took his time, but this time, I mean, he was deploying these crash zooms throughout. Whether they were tasteful is up to the viewer's perspective, I believe. But to each his own. To me, they felt a little disorienting.
Audio was great this episode. I do want to give a critique. They certainly got that other audio guy from the Cuban app right the hell out of there.
Yeah, they shit-canned him and sent him right where he belonged.
Yeah, sent him packing. Last kind of note about the set. Oh, well, Moose was back in the studio.
Yes, fan favorite Moose. Just a big dog. No idea what breed he is, but just seems like a really sweet rescue dog that is just able to roam freely throughout the set.
This is another critique. Hate to say it, but I feel like Brianna Chickenfry wasn't quite respecting the set, or maybe even Haliey, given that she put her
water bottle
tumbler.
Yeah, it's a tumbler more so.
Right in front of the screen with...
This thing is opaque. It's not a clear plastic water bottle like I might have just... you might have thought from my earlier statement.
It's a viral one.
Yeah, it is fully opaque metal probably, or plastic, like hard plastic tumbler. And just the way she sets it up.
In front of the screen with Talk Tuah with Haliey Welch's name, it covers the H.
It covers more than just the H. It overextends into some of the other letters of Haliey's name. And it's just like, Brianna Chickenfry, what are you trying to do here?
That was pretty shocking. And I don't know if she had some leftover aggression from her relationship that maybe she was taking it out unfairly on Haliey.
Yeah, maybe she was getting the initial breakup text from Zach, and then a week later it all went to shit just as this episode came out.
And also, I will say, we're going to get into this during this episode, guys, but I could feel the tension with her and Grace at points.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I thought we were going to watch a Teamsters brawl.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to watch the scene from Ted where Ted and Mark just go ape shit on each other.
Yeah. I mean, it was palpable. And I mean, speaking of Seth MacFarlane properties, I mean, we got some great discussion about Family Guy later into this episode, but I feel like I'm jumping the gun. But that's just a taste of what's to come.
Well, let's
start with a minute and 10. I mean, the first interactions between the two teams of podcasting duos. Chelsea pitches a sinker to Grace. She's tossing over Talk Tuah hats for the two women to put on and wear.
I'm glad you bring this. I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah. Chelsea, I mean, it was a rough pitch. I think it was maybe underhand, but a total sinker. Grace was able to catch it, and she put it on. She did put that hat on graciously.
Grace did, but Brianna Chickenfry, I mean, this is Deadpool in action, right?
Yeah.
Deadpool, you give Deadpool a hat, Deadpool's going to give you the middle finger.
Yeah.
Because Brianna, she was wearing a White Sox hat and didn't take it off. I wonder if that's resentment for the fact that Haliey was throwing a first pitch out for the Mets.
You know, now that I think about it, I think that was probably a Red Sox hat. You know, it was tan and it was a white lettering, so it wasn't the conventional Red Sox coloring. I misled you. I said it was a White Sox hat as we covered it, but they're from Boston, and Red Sox is the Boston team.
What's White
Just
Sox?
To cover it up. That's Chicago. I mean, it's possible. No, maybe Brianna Chickenfry has ties to Chicago. I don't know.
You're right. Look, these are two guys from LA. We only care about the Dodgers, which absolutely, I don't care if you're White Sox, Red Sox, or even Mets. I mean, the Dodgers are just going to take a bite out of you. Sorry, Haliey. We are Dodgers.
The Dodgers absolutely smoked the Mets this year. And Haliey, I mean, you mentioned at one point that you donated to the Mets charity. I don't know if you were referring to their entire roster at large. Are you donating to the players themselves? Because they surely do need the charitable work and help. I mean, what a fucking trash team.
No, they suck badly.
I'm glad they have someone like Haliey looking out for them. I mean, they need a saint.
Yeah, that's a radical improvement. But again, and this is no slight to Haliey. But
yeah, of course not.
I mean, they don't even fucking stand a chance in the face of the Dodgers. I mean, West Coast is going to chew you up and spit you out.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have to sell that franchise to Dallas or Albany in the next 10 years.
Yeah, sell it for pennies on the dollar. It's worthless.
Yeah.
Chelsea revealed that, you know, we've already known this, that she came up with the name for Talk Tuah. Haliey had some ideas for the show. She wanted to call it You Get Me, Sweet Tea, or 16 Minutes.
Yep.
Which is a play on 15 Minutes of Fame, which Andy Warhol.
It's not a play on 7 Minutes in Heaven.
No.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, that makes more sense. The 15. Yeah, because Haliey is making the most of the fame that she earned when she had that fateful night in Nashville. And she's really doing incredible things with this podcast that sprung out of that. Well, but I do think Talk Tuah is probably the most clever name, and I think everyone in the room
props to Chelsea. Yeah, props to Chelsea big time. Now we get into the origin story of Brie and Grace a little bit, which is a true Marvel cinematic kind of masterpiece, I'd say.
Yeah.
Grace was kind of the queen of the tomboys in 5th grade, we learned, and the city slicker Brianna Chickenfry comes in wearing a flannel. I wanted to say cashmere, sorry.
No, it's flannel.
Flannel, and she was kind of bullied ruthlessly.
Yeah, Grace did not hold any space for her. She set her hound dogs on Brianna Chickenfry. It seemed like that Grace held all the power in school and would not extend an olive branch to Brianna on her first day. And it took some years before they actually, became friends. And I think it was a turn of the tables where Grace was reaching out obsessively to Brianna Chickenfry, trying to get her attention. And it took a while, but then I think they started some kind of friendship that has blossomed into something really beautiful.
Into an incredible,
But now, we know that it might be on its way out or already on its way out.
I hope that doesn't happen to us. We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Since middle school.
You met me when I was wearing a flannel.
And you know what? Our friendship has now blossomed again into a beautiful podcast. And most people can only hope that, they have such an incredible friend that one day they can both start a podcast, which is, this is a medium of entertainment that's really just top notch.
Yeah. It's surpassing like just about every other medium. I actually can't think of another medium that it hasn't already surpassed.
An audio video medium that just is so incredibly well thought out, heavily edited.
Yeah.
So just well produced.
Thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of when I listen to podcasts, it's just like every line just it feels like you can't cut anything.
Yeah,
you know?
It stays with you. And so, yeah, I mean, Grace and Brianna, Chickenfry, are now good friends. Do want to go back. There was a moment where they're talking about chicken ringing, because Haliey's great granny was a chicken ringer, in which she would raise chickens, and when the time comes, that fateful day, she would pick these things up by their necks and just swing them around
till their necks broke.
Yeah. Now, I think that kills the chicken. I think that's the purpose, is that then she would eat these chickens.
Yeah. And it makes sense because they're small. I mean, you didn't see people wringing a cow's neck, right?
No, I don't think. Yeah.
It's not possible.
Love to see someone do that. Maybe a real bodybuilder would be able to pull that off, but not great granny, as far as we know.
The first better ad. I was pretty disappointed. The room was quite messy. It looked like a bomb went off in there. I mean, there was shit all over the floor. It kind of looked like... I really would like to see better be serviced a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
A little play on words.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Should we talk about how Chelsea and Haliey came to be friends? We knew about Chelsea's cousin Pookie being the
current boyfriend of Haliey.
Yeah, the apple of Haliey's eye currently. But before Pookie, there was Chelsea's brother, who everyone in Tennessee had the hots for.
He was literally getting passed around by Haliey's friend group.
Yeah. Now, I haven't read Stephen King's It, but this felt like a tunnel scene with the with Haliey's friend group all taking turns with Chelsea's brother.
Just kind of running a train on this guy.
Yeah. Apparently he's the hottest crush in school, it seemed like. And everyone wanted to hang out with him. And I guess Chelsea at first was a little bit like, what's going on here? But I guess as time went on, she realized Haliey would be a great friend, and they bonded, and they've been inseparable ever since.
Well, I think Chelsea's brother was kind of like the Trojan horse, right? Because then Haliey got in that family and now has the hots for Pookie. So, yeah, I do think that was pretty foreboding at the very least.
Yeah.
Grace and Brianna Chickenfry moved to New York City together.
Yep.
I'm going to cover this real quick.
Yeah.
They shared a very tiny apartment. They lived together. And then, we got in some pretty riveting conversation about Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where Haliey was asking, or was it Chelsea? Sorry. One of the girls was asking, what was the craziest thing you would see in New York?
Yeah, I think Chelsea posed that question.
Which I was kind of struck by their answer. I mean, both girls, Brianna and Grace, were just kind of talking about seeing homeless people being crazy.
Yeah.
Which I agree, that is the craziest thing you could see in a city.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that in the suburbs.
You probably won't. I mean, they really lock things down in the suburbs.
Now, at one point, the girls were talking about going into Washington Square Park and seeing a man with a metal hook on like a chain or a rope or something.
Yeah, this wasn't Robin Williams and Hook.
No, and he was whipping people with this hook.
Yeah. Whipping. Yeah.
Whipping with a hook.
Their words, not ours. It is whipping with metal, especially with a hooked kind of formation or object. That seems like a difficult task. Not to doubt their retelling of the story, or the veracity of their statements, but I am curious. The whipping with a hook, that seems impressive.
Sounds like an Elden Ring boss.
It does.
Now, Pete, around 9 minutes and 10 seconds, Haliey said that Dave Portnoy could kiss her ass.
That's right.
And then Grace took off her Talk Tuah hat.
Yeah.
Now, I thought this was a really telling moment in that Grace was pledging her fealty to Barstool.
Yeah.
What did you make of this moment?
Well, there was the other moment where Haliey, or one of them said, who cares what Dave says or thinks?
Yeah.
And Grace is quick to say, I care what he thinks. I'm on his payroll.
Yeah.
And so this was just a doubling down between that statement and then her removing the Talk Tuah hat.
It's podcast bureaucracy at its finest.
Yeah, the tension in the air became palpable at that moment. But
we're putting our lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Putting up our flags.
Yeah. But ultimately, I mean, it seems like Haliey wants to make amends with Dave.
Make amends. I mean, Haliey didn't do anything to Dave. I think a lot of this stems from, Brianna Chickenfry asked Haliey, she's like, I guess this was previously, right?
Yeah.
Before the podcast, she was like, would you give Dave the Talk Tuah?
Yeah. That's just like, come on.
It's crude. It's weird. It's a strange thing to ask.
And of course it is, and doubly so when Dave, or the object of the conversation, is as much older as Haliey is. And Haliey was quick to be like, well, look, it's more just like, I don't want to think about older guys in that context.
Yeah, and also, I hate to say it, but I'm just like, was Brianna on Dave's payroll at the time?
It's possible.
It is quite an absurd thing to ask, especially when Dave is such a squeaky clean guy.
Yeah.
I mean, why even... No, maybe Brianna just was asking it as a joke. It didn't come off as a great joke.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I'm like, it's not... I don't think Dave would have been asking her to float the question out there, right?
No.
Okay.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So it just seems like it was all kind of some miscommunication. And I mean, Haliey, it seems like she wants to potentially be on good terms with Dave. She doesn't know why there's this weird air between them.
And look, can I give Brianna the benefit of the doubt?
Of course.
Real quick, Brianna Chickenfry.
Yeah.
Deadpool, right? Pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Seeing how far we could take it with comedy.
Yeah.
Again, I think that would probably make Matt Rife proud, but I was a little more sensitive to that kind of joke.
Yeah. What else was there? I mean...
Well, can we get in around 9 minutes and 30 seconds?
Yeah. So it's the conversation of providing Talk Tuah to older men. And previously, Haliey had been in an interview where someone had asked her if she would provide Talk Tuah for Donald Trump. And she said no.
Ex-president of the United States.
A future president as well. She offered... Or she was quick to say no. I mean... And it comes from a place of her just not wanting to think about older men in that context. Yeah. Which is totally fair. And but then that whole kind of interview that had happened resurfaced in this conversation, and Haliey then pivoted to bring up the depiction of Donald Trump on Family Guy. Mm-hmm. Which have you seen this?
Yeah, well, Haliey said that she first actually felt scared of Trump because of the way he was portrayed on Family Guy as being crude to Meg.
Yeah. Well, look, I hadn't seen this episode or a series of episodes. I don't know how crude he is to Meg.
So, okay, we really have to break this down because it's a really gray situation.
It is tough.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. Let's say that Donald Trump was a... I don't know, creepy, misogynistic guy. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who can really say for sure?
Yeah.
Because again, I think most people, bells started going off in their heads after this appearance. People were thinking, wait a second, is something going on with this guy?
Yeah.
I think maybe he said some stuff in the past, like grab her by the pussy, or just
maybe blood coming out from everywhere.
Yeah, maybe he's allied himself with some guys that maybe their conduct isn't great.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't until the Family Guy appearance that most of America was like, is this something we should be worried about?
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough because in the context of Family Guy, canonically, the character Meg sucks.
She is written to suck. She's supposed to suck.
Yeah, like her sole purpose in the show, within that show's universe, is to just suck. Like her presence sucks.
She sucks.
Show.
She sucks. Not even in the context of like sucking as a woman, but just sucking as a character. So
like purely just sucking.
So if Trump being kind of crude to Meg, I actually wouldn't say that. It's that out of bounds.
Yeah,
that's fair game.
It's somewhat deserved at probably this deep into the series. I imagine this was a recent depiction of Trump on there. It's well established that Meg sucks and is probably to be critiqued and to be derisive towards.
To me, the bigger problem would be if Trump wasn't being, kind of rude to Meg.
Yeah.
I think that's when I'd say, ooh, this guy,
If Trump was being crude to Lois or Stewie, God forbid, I mean, then Brian. I'd be like, I think
you don't want to piss off a libertarian that went to Harvard. Man.
No, of course not. I think that would be way more grounds for suspicion on, Trump's character.
But look, I think a lot of people that were probably shocked by that and kind of freaking out really just weren't caught up with Family Guy lore.
Yeah.
Because again, come on, you're supposed to call Meg a bitch.
Yeah.
She is she is written to be that character. She sucks.
Yeah. From screen or from page to screen, it's clear Meg sucks.
Yeah.
And they make it, unequivocal.
And Trump capitalized on that.
Yeah.
As he was supposed to.
And I am sorry if Haliey isn't as well versed in Family Guy to know that kind of lore.
Maybe she's watches more American Dad.
It's possible, or the Cleveland Show. But Haliey, I guess, was put off from Trump because of this appearance or depiction on Family Guy. And then Brianna's like, oh, I think that's probably how he is in real life. And then Grace says, or it's just a cartoon, which I think totally undersells what Family Guy is, too. I don't think that was exactly fair of Grace to, question the validity of Family Guy in the media landscape. I mean, sure, it's not a podcast, but it is a valid form of art.
And shots fired to the patron saint of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I mean, that was dirty. That was low.
Yeah, that was slimy, I felt.
I mean, Grace, and again, I don't know what she's trying to set herself up for here, right? I think she very much reminded me of Trump.
Yeah.
In that she's kind of just pledging to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
She's on Barstool's payroll.
Yeah.
And now, Trump is coming back in the office. And
Do you think she's on his payroll?
Well, I think she'd probably like to receive, national funding for podcasts, which is, look, Trump got elected because of podcasting. So I'd imagine that a lot of money is going to be flowing into podcasts from Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
These next 4 years, which is incredible.
Yeah.
That is really, really incredible.
Yeah. Do you think she's jumping from the Plan Brie podcast to the Plan G podcast, Plan Grace?
Well, if she could secure some funding from this future administration.
Yeah.
That would be a solid career move.
It would be.
She's going to have to deal with. She's going to have to deal with beef from the, Chickenfry heads, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and I don't know. They dipped into podcasting a little bit in politics.
Well, I think it's safe to say
how the two mingle.
I think it's certainly safe to say that if you want to run for president, you're going to have to be able to sit down on a podcast and be funny.
Yeah,
you need to be able to riff for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Like, if you want to have any chance in a swing state, you're going to have to talk to some of the greats.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sit down for an hour or two and just...
Depending on what side you're on, it's like, maybe hit Rogan, maybe hit Call Her Daddy, but nonetheless, you're going to have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You're going to have to bring it.
What did you think of Barstool stiff-arming Doug? His current second gentleman, as of this recording, Doug Emhoff, the husband of Kamala Harris. He apparently made a pitch or pled with Barstool Sports to let him into their podcasting studios for an appearance during Kamala's presidential campaign. And they said, doors closed, you're not getting in. What did you make of that?
Well, I think just ultimately it wouldn't be fair to Dave. Right? Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
Because to have another guy in the room whose name starts with D... Come on. It's like whenever anyone says they're both going to look, Doug or Dave, they don't want to have to play that game in the middle.
Would have been too muddy. And I also just don't think...
I don't think it was political at all.
Yeah, I just don't... I haven't seen much of Doug, but I just don't know if he has the stamina to riff with a guy like Dave for like an hour or two. I mean, it's demanding to podcast.
I mean, Dave wears leather jackets, Dave smokes cigarettes, and Dave is a Swiftie.
Yeah. And he has a Swiftie jacket, an Eras Tour jacket that is became famous during the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. They talked about it, where Haliey was as shocked as I was to learn that Dave is a huge Swiftie. And
he's a teddy bear.
Yeah, he had this really nice jacket project going on, where he had sent out a jacket to a fan at one Eras Tour concert, and that fan was supposed to send it to another fan going to another concert of Taylor Swift's, and it just was a cycle that went on, and they all wrote messages on this jacket, and it made its way around the world. And it was just a nice reaffirmation for a lot of fans of how much they love Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, unless we know for sure whether Doug fucks with Cruel Summer or not, then I don't think it's fair to kind of put him in that environment.
Doug Emhoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he can...
Can you talk Taylor or can you not?
Yeah.
Is he up to date on the Travis Kelce stuff? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can't sing all 10 minutes of the All Too Well 10 minutes version, I don't think you need to have space in that studio necessarily.
Now, speaking of music, Grace doesn't fuck with country.
Yep.
Was that surprising for you?
No, I mean, it's tough. I mean, when you're from Boston, I feel like you probably can't connect as much to the music of the South, country.
Certainly. I think they're leaning more towards maybe Irish rock.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Yeah, the Dropkick Murphys.
Didn't Grace say that she was interested in an Irish lad?
Yeah, that was an interesting admission. There's
Don't let Hannah Burner see that.
Yeah, Brianna Chickenfry was teeing her up to talk about a crush that she's had, and Grace was kind of like waffling on this. She was saying that she didn't really have a crush, but then she let slip that she really has a thing for Irishmen, which is interesting. That's the second episode in a row of Talk Tuah in which a guest has a thing for Irishmen. Hannah Burner of the last episode is married to an Irishman.
I don't know if this is setting up for kind of a sponsorship from Hulu for their new show, Say Nothing.
Yeah.
Based on the book from Patrick Radden Keefe, which that was an incredible kind of tale.
Maybe they're teasing an appearance from Martin Scorsese to talk about the Irishman.
You never know. Can I just go back to Dave Portnoy for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Him and Josh Richards had a diss track.
Yep.
On Mr. Zach Bryan.
Yeah, so this is actually news that broke after this episode was released, where Josh and Dave teamed up for a track of the fall into winter kind of season, where they just went in on Zach Bryan on behalf of Brianna Chickenfry. I mean, they're good friends. They host the BFFs podcast together, the three of them.
Which is top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier.
And it's just beautiful, again, to see like how the podcasting community is so tight-knit, where two co-hosts would do that on behalf of the other co-hosts that they share a show with.
Look, it's 2024. You do not want to fuck with podcasters, okay?
Of course not.
You will get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
Zach was on Rya immediately after the breakup.
Yep.
To make matters worse. And it's even rumored, because again, a lot of this, I don't know how much we've heard from Zach. It seems pretty damning.
Yeah.
From what we've heard.
Bro could be in the doghouse for a bit.
But he could be in Haliey's Fund, Paws Across America.
Yeah.
But Zach was even speculated to be on Rya before they broke up.
Yeah.
What do you think the ethics on swiping before you're out of a relationship are? It's downright dirty, no?
Is it just as like a hobby? Does he need something to do with his thumb?
Giving him a workout or something like that?
Yeah. I frankly see that I don't think there's any space for swiping while you're in a relationship. Like if you're thinking of getting out, get the hell out of Dodge and then start swiping. I just don't think it's not fair to your partner realistically to be swiping, be just on a dating app when you're in a relationship.
Do you think it was a power play of sorts to kind of wedge himself between Brianna and Grace's relationship, given the fact that Grace went on a tirade about the fact that she has not been accepted onto Rya, even though she has 30 recommendations and she's been applying, I think, on the wait list for 4 years. That's a whole presidential term.
Yeah.
So, what do we think?
You think that he was just gloating over Grace, the fact that he can swipe all he wants on Rya, and so he was hoping to put bad thoughts in Grace's head?
I think he was trying to kind of give Brianna Chickenfry a new enemy.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because then if she could be distracted by Grace and upset there, I think it's going to make this big bad wolf just look a little bit more like a pup.
Well, it's like the kind of, that's a tricky dynamic to navigate where like your best friend is jealous of your boyfriend being able to swipe on Rya.
On Rya, yeah.
Yeah, that would, that's an interesting theory.
Driving a steak home. I mean.
Hell, you could help steer the conversation here about the breakup between Zach Bryan and Brianna Chickenfry. It seems like there's a lot still to be told, and I think that theory could actually hold some water.
Because again, realistically, how many matches was he getting? He just needed to swipe enough so it would break national news, as it did.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, you want to make an omelet, you're going to crack some eggs. Brianna's going to be upset about the Rya thing no matter what. But the fact is, Grace is going to find out, say, he's on Rya, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Incredible tension, right? Because then it gets into muddy waters of, did she get a referral from him?
Yeah.
Maybe that would have helped. Now it's hurt feelings. It's just not looking good.
I mean, Zach, he maybe got out of this relationship at a perfect time. I mean, the Pookie app had just come out. He could try his hand at swiping on the Pookie app.
He's going to have to get height verified on that thing.
Yeah, it's true. Even Brianna Chickenfry. I mean, look, yeah, Brianna, I know you're going through a lot, but when you're ready to start looking for love again, I think try the Pookie app. It seems like a pretty exciting new app on the market.
Now, there was a little bit of beef. First shots fired with Grace and Bree around 16 minutes and 17 seconds. Can you break that down for us, Pete?
16 minutes, 17. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. This conversation about pets comes up. We learned that Chelsea first has 3 dogs, Maggie, Coda, and Josie, which is pretty sweet, learning their names. But then Grace is like caught up all in the excitement of talking about dogs and pets, and she says that she really wants a pet. She's been trying to get a pet, and Brianna Chickenfry clamps down. She goes, "Do you want a pet? I've never heard you talk about wanting a pet before." And I mean, that was embarrassing to have your pants pulled around your ankles like that in front of.
Threw her under the bus, and Grace's cheeks got red. She was flustered in the moment. She didn't quite know what to say. I think at that point, too, the girls, Haliey and Chelsea were kind of like, do you want a pet or do you not want a pet? Now, this is important.
Yeah.
One of the most important things to me on a podcast is what kind of pets someone has.
Yeah.
Someone that, if I don't know someone who's being interviewed, I obviously wonder if they have a dog or a cat.
Yeah. And thankfully, Haley's been diligent about asking her guests on the episodes about their pets and everything. And it's awesome to learn every time. And so it's like, Grace, it would be great if you do want a pet. But now I'm wondering if you even do want a pet. Were you just lying?
Is she even from Boston?
Yeah.
Was she even queen of the tomboys?
Yeah.
This starts to remind me of Dasha.
Yeah.
Or is it Dasha? There's been contention with the name again. It's been said differently.
Yeah.
On this episode included. On the last episode that was shot there with Hannah Berner,
Chelsea pronounced it Dasha.
they brought her name up, Dasha, and then on this episode they said Dasha.
So, and Dasha is how this country music star.
She claims
that that's how it's pronounced in her episode. I believe that was episode 4 of Talk Tuah. But now, now we have another guest who's just caught in a lie. You really start to doubt the claims they make on the show. And I hate to say that about a guest. I mean, I want to fully enjoy these conversations without being reminded that these people could have ulterior motives in what they say.
Someone coming from Dave Portnoy's camp? No. Well, that's the thing. You have to remember where she's coming from.
Yeah, an incredibly credible dynasty of podcasters, but I don't know who would you say that you don't trust Brianna Chickenfry for calling Grace out, or which side are you on?
She's an acolyte of, podcasting mogul tycoon Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that would be the case, but this certainly just seems like some tension just being released. I mean, maybe Brianna misheard her.
People may surprise you, though. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put that on Grace, but Brianna put it on her first. And
no, it's fair, and I want you to feel like you can kind of be comfortable. And if you have, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, look, if I'm gonna put, I gotta put it on someone, and whether it's I'm putting it on Grace or putting it on Brianna.
Grace is gonna have to bite the bullet here, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seemed like Brianna was pretty passionate about calling her out here.
But I do have a little bit of critique for, well, I guess not so much. For Brianna.
Yeah.
When they were talking about pets, around 17 minutes, she showed a picture on her phone of a finger monkey.
Yeah.
She showed it to the girls. The camera barely gets it in frame. I wish he would have walked it up and showed it to the camera.
Yeah.
Obviously we can't expect them to do a graphics pull-up because the editing team is pretty incompetent at best. Unfortunately, they deserve, amazing editors, but I don't think they're going to get the guy who did Dunkirk anytime soon.
Of course not, or Tenet.
No. And the thing is, please, it's like we've been begging for this. When you're watching a podcast, show us images of everything.
Yeah.
Please. If you talk about an apple, show us an apple.
Yeah.
If you talk about a dog, show us a pic of a dog.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to follow along? You know?
If you're talking about Dave Portnoy or the jacket he sent on the Eras tour, I'd love to see either of those things.
And if you don't have photos of everything specifically, just use AI to make it, please.
Yeah.
Come on. Now, obviously, you know, there's some people out there like Chris Hedges that say like, oh, a culture that relies on pictures and not the written word is doomed and on the decline. Shut up.
Yeah.
Boomer.
Yeah.
Sorry. Look, I just had to get off that. I know it's kind of a sidetrack.
Yeah, all good.
Now, Pookie is intimidated by Matt Rife. What do we make of that? Haliey said it.
Look, we know this. And it's tough when your partner is going on her podcast, her incredible podcast week after week and mentioning another guy, a guy who is super funny, but
the funniest.
Okay. But when she comes home, she sees Pookie and he's making sure her needs are met on the daily. And Matt's not doing that. I put that down.
Why?
Because it shouldn't be there.
Why?
Because it's already insane that I let you get that. Jesus Christ. Look, oh my God. I can't blame Pookie for being a little insecure about the fact that Haliey constantly talks about the funniest guy alive.
Well, and Haliey also said that she would jump at the opportunity of, this is a little bit TMI, but she said it, at Matt Rife saying to get naked and go into a bed.
Okay.
She said that while dating Pookie.
Wouldn't you do that? Do the same?
Yeah, because I'd be like, damn, I get to be in a room with this guy and he gets to tell me like all the highlights from his crowd work set.
Yeah.
I think that'd just be cool.
Okay, yeah.
If I'm not wearing a shirt, who cares? I might be a little chilly from a draft in there or something.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I don't have to do anything.
I would too, but I also understand why Pookie would be a little peeved about that.
That's not a weird thing to say if you're in a relationship.
I don't know. I think it's just like Pookie's probably. He comes home every day from a hard day of plumbing, and it's just he has to think about his girlfriend being naked in a room with the funniest guy on earth. I think that's probably...
They don't have to be doing anything. Look, a big part of this episode was Grace and Brianna Chickenfry even saying, because this is a relationship-based episode, is that saying life is better when you have a crush. That's kind of Matt Rife's thing. I mean...
Okay, and a crush is a crush. It's not a boyfriend.
It's not a boyfriend, but I think... I almost see this as sort of a challenger's situation. I almost see it as maybe even Twilight situation of you have Haliey, who's Bella, right? Let's take Twilight.
Yeah.
You have two guys.
Yeah.
Matt very much...
Are they both vampires? I haven't seen that.
Well, Matt Rife would be the vampire here in the sense. Robert Pattinson.
Okay.
And Pookie would very much be a werewolf.
Okay.
Now let's think about this.
He's a long-term partner?
Well, he's a long-term partner, but he's bohemian. He's a wandering werewolf. He doesn't have a home. Vampires have castles. They're rich. Now, a lot of this, people might argue that a lot of the lore is kind of classist if you think about it.
Okay.
Have you ever heard this kind of discussion?
About Twilight?
Vampires and werewolves?
No, I haven't.
It actually works perfectly with Matt Rife and Pookie.
Okay.
That it's like, with vampires, it's all about, money and their control over people. They have thralls, right?
Yeah.
As rich people have servants.
Yeah.
They live in castles, very expensive. They have very nice things, right? They come from like very rich families, dynasties.
Do they sleep in coffins?
Nice coffins.
Okay.
Now, werewolves don't have homes. They're homeless.
Okay.
They wander around. They don't have servants. They're in a pack. They can't control themselves.
Yeah.
Now, the way each of them dies actually is the inverse of that class. So it's like for a vampire to die, they have to be stabbed by a stake.
Through the heart,
which is a tool of a peasant, a wooden shitty stake.
Okay.
Werewolf has to be shot by a literal money bullet, a silver bullet.
Wow.
So in this case, it works really well because Pookie, blue collar guy.
Yeah.
Right? Matt Rife, like a billionaire comedian. Amazing. Now, it's a gray area because I think in this someone might be arguing for the werewolf. And this was an argument that, I don't know, maybe like an anthropologist, David Graeber, might be.
Yeah, I'd argue for the working class hero.
Sure.
Sue me.
Okay. All right. I mean, look, I bring that up being that, Why wouldn't you want to date a vampire? So, have you ever seen Let the Right One In?
No, I haven't.
Incredible vampire movie. It's actually a vampire saves the day at the end.
Oh, okay.
It's European. I don't expect you to see it. I've seen a lot of foreign films.
Yeah,
so.
I just doubt it tracks to reality. I mean, they're always pie in the sky bullshit ideas.
Sure, I've seen a ton of
foreign Seventh Seal. I mean, what was that bullshit on the beach?
Seventh Seal is what the girls thought they saw in the Washington Square Park with people flogging themselves with whips.
Yeah.
Parading around the square.
Yeah.
Okay? They were probably having a chess game with death himself.
Yeah. European bullshit coming to New York. Great. That's just what we need.
Okay. What do you want to move on to?
I'd love to talk about Chelsea's Nightmare X. A fucking bastard from hell.
This is something we can agree on.
Look, we learned some time ago about Pookie's Nightmare X, who, fuck. I mean, anytime I think about her, my blood boils.
Absolute Damon.
Constantly trying to get in between Pookie and Haliey. Boo.
She's a ghoul.
Yeah. And we learned that Chelsea's battling a Nightmare X of her own.
A Night Stalker.
Who, Chelsea, just as she's getting ready to open up about her own dating life to all the girls on the podcast this episode, she gets derailed because she has to share this fact that the last date she went on was so nice. This new guy met her dad, took her on an amazing date, and she comes home to a text from this bastard ex from hell. A guy she hasn't talked to for a year, has blocked his number. He communicates from an unknown number. What is he dialing from a payphone? He invites her to see a movie that isn't even out yet.
I have a theory on this, but continue. Yeah. Flesh it out fully.
Well, I hate the idea that Chelsea's being haunted by a fucking a bastard who is trying to get in between her and new love. I just want what's best for Chelsea, and it seems like she was flustered by this development. Haliey was pretty put off by the fact that this guy's trying to creep back into her life, slither back in through the front door.
Like a little fucking snake.
Like a gnat. Like this guy's nothing more than a gnat.
You know who I think this guy could be?
Yeah, pray tell.
Deep, deep, deep.
Okay.
In Hollywood, a Hollywood mogul.
Oh.
Hollywood deep state.
Whoa,
think about it.
Wait. Whoa.
Think about it. Hollywood was the predominant one of the obviously one of the biggest industries in California. Now it's going all tech. A lot of infiltration, of Hollywood by the tech sphere.
Yeah.
And now it's like you have this guy that he texts her at the exact moment.
Yeah.
Think about that.
The surveillance.
Yeah, he is tapped in with the tech surveillance. I mean, it's no surprise that your messages are being read by personal FBI agents and these tech bros have ways to see them. So this guy definitely has connects to the tech world.
He has a person who can hook him up with an unknown number.
But I think the biggest smoking gun here is the fact that he wants to take Chelsea to a movie that's not even out yet. How does this guy have such deep intel on the film world?
That's scary to think about. Like who he could be rubbing shoulders with. I mean, good for Chelsea if she got with someone who's, well established. But, I mean, this guy apparently proved to be a fucking demon.
I don't think Hollywood has a great track record.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I mean, she cut him out. And now that she's in L.A., she's playing around in L.A. And now she is being haunted by a demon. And it's unfair.
Well, I hope she doesn't have to have the same cruel fate as Grace with Rya.
Yeah.
Because if she could get on there, hopefully she could just meet someone that...
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope that things are going well with the guy that she went on a nice date with. I hope
that's going well, too. I'm sorry. My heart always points to, like, a Matt Rife kind of figure. Like, let's get her with a hilarious crowd work comedian.
Look, I mean, if Chelsea isn't totally smitten with this new guy she's seeing, I think that would be an amazing opportunity for a double date between Haliey and Pookie and Chelsea and Matt. I mean, that would be a dream team, and I would love to see it if Chelsea isn't already taken for.
Now, when they were talking about who they'd like to date, Brianna said on BFFs that she wouldn't want to date someone that's famous. Again, another clue that it's just not working for her, right?
Yeah.
She needs to date a guy that's just not in the industry, right? But to me, Zach kind of fits that mold, right? He doesn't have a podcast.
Yeah.
He's not famous by any means to most people.
That's true. He's not who they put on when they drive to work or when they're just listening to stuff on their computer.
And then bouncing off that, Grace said that she went from liking kind of guys to more fruity guys.
Yeah.
Kind of guys.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe she's had some bad dates with Teamsters in Boston. Obviously, you have to expand your dating pool.
Or expand your radius on Rya or Hinge.
She's not on Rya.
Yeah,
she's on Hinge, right?
Hinge, yeah. So expand that radius, and then when you get on Rya, make sure you're looking outside of Boston.
She said Tinder's for babies.
Yeah.
I met my Pookie on Tinder. I think it's a great app. So I'm not, I don't know. I kind of heard that. I was like, really? Oh, okay. I think a lot of people have met Pookies on there.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't worked out for her, but you don't have to poo-poo it for others.
You take issue with her calling you a baby, you and your Pookie?
I'm a man in an adult relationship, and me and my Pookie love each other, so no, we're not wearing diapers.
Yeah.
We're going on dates and spending money that we earn and contribute to the economy, so it's kind of far-fetched.
Yeah, it felt uncalled for from Grace. Pretty low behavior. But speaking of low behavior, I mean, there's a moment where Brianna Chickenfry brings up the fact that Grace has a kid, and Grace just ignores it. Like, is this kid just out of the picture entirely? What's going on there?
It's a shock for sure.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if it's true.
Yeah, it's probably not true. Now that I'm thinking back on
we don't know.
I guess we don't know.
Again, after the pets thing,
I
think it's fair to say that there's shots being fired on both sides.
Yeah.
They're skirmishing throughout the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was Brianna Chickenfry trying to get under Grace's skin.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it didn't seem to bother her.
Yeah.
She didn't respond.
If we had the budget for a body language expert to come on this show and talk about the moment at 26 minutes and 28 seconds where this happened, I'd love to make sense of what, Grace's body was telling everyone about whether she does have a kid or not.
But come on, let's just look at the clues. Grace is totally primed to launch her own podcast now, right? If you're a full-time podcaster, how do you have time to support another person,
Yeah.
It's just such an intense job.
Yeah. It's
a lot of work
tough.
that goes into it.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, I want to jump into the Manscaped ad because I thought there was a really interesting ribs kind of parable.
Yeah.
And this actually ties in with quite nicely. They were saying that Manscaped could be used to kind of, if someone's eating ribs, a guy, and they get ribs in their beard, you can just shave it off with, I don't know, the Chairman Electric Pro 3 razor, which is waterproof and fucking amazing from what I've heard from them.
Amazing gadget.
It kind of just reminded me of a memory I'm pretty fond of in Boston. I was there with a good friend and former colleague, Cole Hirsch.
Yeah.
Also a friend of yours.
Yeah. Great guy.
And we got ribs together. I don't know why. In a city where you could have the best seafood. We got ribs and it came with no sauce.
Oh.
I've never had ribs with no sauce. It was so dry.
Yeah.
It was like eating Angela's ashes.
Oh.
Just paper.
Just
right?
Irish as hell.
Yeah. And it was kind of getting stuck in Cole's beard, so it reminded me of that. But it's funny.
Wait, it was dry and it was getting caught in his beard? What was this, dust? Was it literal dust that you were eating?
It was crumbling. It was just,
I was going to say you probably didn't need the Chairman Electric Pro razor based on
I kind of wish I had it. But listen, this is actually a great little segue because Cole very kindly got Pete and I this new Talk Tuah flag.
Yeah. Thank you, Cole. I mean, this is an amazing centerpiece. And, we had our troubles with tech with this TV screen between us. But other times, at one point, at one episode, it just turned off in the middle of it. And I just had to fiddle with that. No more distractions. I mean, I'm happy to have this flag. It looks beautiful. So thank you, Cole, for taking the time to craft this for us.
Yeah. And I think it suits kind of the companion element of this episode, given that the girls have a huge sign.
Yeah.
Right? And they've kind of switch around all the time. So why don't we just take a little break from the TV? Now, obviously, I should put a Tumblr here if I'm serious about this and just cover out your name.
Yeah. cover up. You'd have to put it higher up because mine's more upward on that slant.
I was quite perturbed around 27 minutes and 6 seconds of the two guys playing cat and mouse with each other, the extras.
Yeah. Ren and Stimpy just playing grab ass in the background.
So, for anyone that hasn't seen the episode, and we please encourage you to watch the episode first and then come here. We kind of expect you to come having had, so you should know when we refer to timestamps kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it was basically two guys that one guy peeked out in the background from the left, and then he went back. And then this other guy peeked out from the right, and he went back.
Yep.
I don't know. They were kind of ping-ponging this yin and yang.
Yeah.
Two crafties. No Raising Cane's, so maybe they didn't hit crafty just yet.
Yeah. They might have been checking to see if the crafty had been updated, refreshed, since the one guy got his lunch. Yeah, that was distracting, but I imagine they had their purpose on set.
Now, following up with that, Chelsea said her Instagram is 80% men and 10% women that follow her.
Yeah.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Where's the last 10%?
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's got quite a sizable non-binary following. Who knows what that 10% could be accounting for?
That 10% is the wild card of her following, and I like it.
Yeah. Maybe it's a lot of pet accounts. Maybe people who made accounts for their pets started following her from their pet accounts. It's possible. What did you think of Chelsea token on an Alienware vape?
I have to assume that on set there are probably signs that say no smoking allowed.
Yeah.
Chelsea is kind of taking a page out of Matt Rife's book, out of Dave Portnoy's kind of school of just,
badassery, bad boy vibes.
Totally. I mean, she does give it away quite cheekily.
Yeah.
Literally sitting on a vape.
Yeah.
We could see a blue flume, maybe?
Yeah. At 30 minutes and 55 seconds, this thing was lighting up. I saw lights on it that were crazy. That's why I said Alienware. I mean, this thing was
She revealed her vape. Now,
bioluminescent.
It was, and also we have to say, so it cut to her from a wide, cut to the two shot of Chelsea and Haliey. And Chelsea was just finishing blowing a fat cloud.
Yeah.
She thought she could get away with it, but the editor said, not that quick.
She probably held back from blowing any O's, thinking that would be easily traceable back to her. But look, Chelsea, we caught you blowing the cloud anyway. If you want to blow some O's, I mean, that'd be pretty impressive.
Well, my only complaint is, Chelsea, next time, show us. I want to see, I think vaping's cool.
Yeah.
You're a fucking dragon. Blow that shit.
Yeah.
Do a trick with it.
Yeah.
You're an artist.
Yeah.
Now, on a girls' night, Grace and Brianna Chickenfry said that they like to do a little mushrooms.
Yeah. Get a little psychedelic with it.
Are you a fan of Tao Lin? Do you feel like this is a fun thing to do? Where do you lie?
I've never really dabbled. Smoking pasta weed is about the furthest I'll go when it comes to, hallucinogenics or narcotics.
But we did mushrooms at that one concert. What was it?
Rammstein.
Yeah.
Rammstein. German, heavy metal rock band. I don't think the mushrooms counted. I didn't feel shit, if I'm being honest.
Well, I didn't feel shit either, but I keep coming back to this detail that my Pookie, I remember recounting this story, and I said, our friend gave us mushrooms.
Yeah, the tiny dose, tiniest bit of chocolate mushroom.
But he also perfectly prescribed it to our body weights and heights.
He did, yeah. That guy, he's got a knack. Corey he has that down to a science.
Corey knows his shit. If you've never seen the Dress Up Gang, incredible show.
Yeah,
that Corey made. Where he kind of has that kind of character, That's him. He's just a great vibe.
Well, he hooked us up with these Rammstein tickets and hooked us up with the perfect dose of chocolate mushrooms.
So that was sweet, and we thought it didn't do anything.
I don't think it did.
Okay, but sorry, that was pretty long-winded, but all that to say that my Pookie was like, what are you talking about? I remember calling you guys on the phone, and you couldn't stop laughing. You went into a Panda Express, and you both drank, you said you both drank 10 things of Dr. Pepper, which is true.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. We both were drinking Dr. Pepper.
There's no way.
Yes, you don't remember that? That shocks me.
Wait, okay, so the two details I remember from this Panda Express trip was there's a sign.
Yeah.
Yes, so there's a screen next to where you order, and it said something about, did you know Panda Express customers eat over like 400,000 pounds of beef a day, Angus beef a day or something like that. Some crazy metric of how much beef is consumed a day. And it caught me off guard. I'm just not used to seeing consumerism expressed that blatantly in the restaurant. Like as you're about to order, it reminds you of how many pounds of beef you are communally eating with other customers in the world. This sign was just so outrageous. I had to take a picture of Corey and you standing in front of it. So that caught me off guard. I remember that vividly. And then I remember the discussion of soda pirates, of like what's stopping restaurants what's stopping customers at restaurants from just getting a soda cup and refilling it and bringing it running it.
Yeah. Corey said he could just walk in with a little sand bucket.
Yeah.
Fill it up to the brim with Dr. Pepper. Go put it into a bigger bucket in the trunk of his car, then walk right back in,
refill it more with Dr. Pepper, Sprite, boom, whatever.
Boom. But no, all that was because we were riffing about that because we were drinking Dr. Pepper and kept refilling it. I'm shocked that you don't remember this.
There's no way I drink that much.
We both realistically drank 4 to 5 full things of Dr. Pepper, 100%.
I just don't
100% you were baked.
I don't think so. Is that the only detail that your Pookie remembers?
We were laughing like crazy. I think mushrooms will sneak up on you.
Okay.
I think that's the thing about it because it's, it was kind of microdose.
Yeah. But do you remember like anything, like feeling anything?
Yeah, I remember.
Like, do they make you black out? Is that what I blacked out from doing mushrooms and I forgot that I drank a lot of Dr. Pepper?
Why don't you read some Talon and then get back to me on that, okay?
I guess that's what's going to have to happen.
I want to move on, get back to the episode here. Around 4650, Grace was kind of pitching this cool baking dating app, or at least that's what we all thought when she was talking about, you could put in your favorite cakes on the profile and you can match with people that have the same cakes you're into, whatever kind of cake it is, you won't be judged. And then we all realized she was saying kinks.
Yeah. It's that Boston accent. It creeps up on you. You have no idea. I thought she was talking about an app where you talk about share your favorite episodes of the Great British Bake Off. But it turns out that there's an app for people who are freaks.
Yeah, I certainly heard cake.
Yeah.
Chelsea and Haliey were as shocked as I was.
Yeah. I guess this app is called Field or something like that. And it's where if you got a kink, you share it with the world, and you try to find someone else with that exact kink to have a kink off with them. And the girls started talking about their kinks. None of them seemed particularly kinky, except for Haliey. Haley's kink was that was guys who respect their moms. So I can only imagine how she feels when she sees a guy with like the flaming heart tattoo with mom written in the center of it. That's got to drive her crazy.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, you're right. The girls really didn't divulge into kinks, which that's okay. I mean, maybe they didn't want to talk about it on a podcast. Like, I think anything is fair game when you're on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's at the end of the day, in my book, when you have consenting adults, no kink is weird.
Yeah.
So, if I hear something like you're into guys who respect their moms, I'm not going to judge that.
No, of course
I think that's fair game. You're into what you're into. I think kinks come from who knows what, right?
Yeah. I hope you just have fun with it. I hope you're able to find someone who matches that.
If that's your thing, being into guys who respect their moms, I'm sure there's other people out there that are into that same kink.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, other guys who are into girls who respect their moms.
Yeah, and I think, and again, I can't stress enough, we don't want to judge any kink.
Of course not.
Kinks it's what makes the world fun.
Yeah. Gives it flavor.
Well, speaking of flavor, Yummy by Justin Bieber is a conspiracy? At least that's what Grace says.
Yep.
She says that it was a cry for help from Justin's experience with Diddy. That's fucking tragic, that whole thing with Bieber and Diddy. Yeah. I felt for Bieber from day one, truly.
Really?
I've always liked Bieber.
Since you were 13 or so? When he was in the limelight when we were growing up?
I didn't do cuts for Bieber, but I remember liking him. I was playing Red Dead Redemption. I remember
you're blasting Bieber.
My sister showed me him with a bowl cut. She's like, look at this Canadian guy. I was like, he's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. I was more of an Imagine Dragons kid.
Sure. I mean, we both definitely got into Radioactive around the same time. It was a great song.
Dabbled into 21 Pilots after that.
We'd listen at lunch.
Yeah.
Now,
Bieb was too far out for me.
Was he really?
Yeah, just to put a pin on that.
My thing with Bieber was I always kind of felt like it's also cool too because he's such a gem of the digital age. I mean, he got discovered off of YouTube.
That is crazy.
You know, and then for him to have to,
it's like Canada's Bo Burnham.
He really is. I mean, it's tragic what happened with him though.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, whoa. The more you learn.
The more you learn, and it's unfortunate too. I mean, you see all these videos where it's like Bieber always mean to fans. It's like this guy can't go anywhere without people following him.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And I'm sure Haliey's in the same boat with Pookie and, Matt Rife too. I mean, in Matt Rife's case, he could just fucking blast anyone with his crowd work on the spot.
Getting fire back at anyone who shouts at him.
Oh, TMZ is getting fucking annihilated
getting
the minute.
Torpedoed anytime they get close to him.
Now, Haliey had quite the conspiracy this episode.
What's that?
When she thought that Helen Keller wasn't real.
Yeah. It's
is that so far-fetched? I don't know.
Feels pretty dangerous, to believe that.
Really?
I think any kind of conspiracy theory just leads to more conspiracy theories.
I know, but was she real, actually? Come on.
I mean, once you entertain something as insane as that, I think that you can find her birth records online. She's a real person.
I think, to me, that is similar to Grace having a kid. Wow. It's just out there. We don't know. Someone says one thing, someone says another thing.
What's your issue with Helen? It's the idea that she's blind and deaf?
I'm just with Team Haliey.
There's no way lightning struck twice?
Well, I just have to think to myself, she's out here flying planes. What did she fly the Malaysian flight to?
Look, you're getting her mixed up. You're falling for the same trappings that Haliey did.
What are you talking about?
There's two different people. There's Helen Keller and there's Amelia Earhart, and Haliey got these two mixed up, and now you're just following in her footsteps.
Okay, well, please educate us.
Two distinct and incredible women who, blazed paths forward, really made the most of whatever kind of challenges they came up against. I mean, Helen, she became an advocate for people with disabilities, and she, wrote books.
Did she have a podcast?
I don't think podcasts had been invented yet. I mean, we're talking 1800s into 1900s as far as I know. I could be having the time frames mixed up. Look, if she could have hopped on a fucking phonograph, I'm sure she would have. But I don't even know if that tech was readily available for her. And I just don't... I mean, it's not fair to judge them by today's standards, I don't think. Amelia, she crashed her plane, as far as we know. I think unless her plane had...
I don't know if it crashed on Epstein's Island.
No.
I don't want to have to go down this conspiratorial...
Look, I don't know if she has the unlimited gas in the plane money trick or cheat, but it's safe to presume that she probably crashed fatally, and it's tragic. But she charted paths forward for women in aviation.
Let's get grounded a little bit then.
Yeah, of course. Let's get grounded.
Grace stood up for Chelsea when Haliey took a swipe at her. When she said her slogan was, shit on that thing.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, I mean, I understand why Chelsea's a little bit not on board with that slogan. She doesn't want to be associated with something that graphic and crude. But... yeah, I'm glad that she had Grace there to stand up for a little bit and remind Haliey that, hey, look, your co-host has her own, wants and desires for her image out there, and don't put that kind of slogan on her. I thought it was interesting when Haliey and Chelsea were asked their favorite thing that they've done so far since this fame that they've found. And they said that their best moment was being judges of a bikini competition. And I thought that was so interesting, a whole competition where you kind of judge the fabric and the make of swimsuits, where I guess there's models who come up on stage, and then Haliey and Chelsea got to judge, just what these swimsuits looked like and how they were made, the durability of them.
Well, look, the girls were just showing their character yet again when they said it was really hard for them to give anyone under a 9.
Yeah, or give these swimsuits anything under a 9, because clearly like a lot of craftsmanship went into making and stitching and sewing these swimsuits.
I mean, I hope it was the swimsuit of the red bikini that I posted on Instagram. I'm still waiting to get that.
Yeah, that was 2016 or so.
Yeah,
it's been a little while.
So who knows? I don't know.
Someday.
I don't know what kind of bikinis are out there, but
yeah.
Haliey was just saying, a contestant would kind of look back, smile, and wink at her, and then she would
give her a 10.
Yeah.
Give her that bikini a 10. Apparently that woman's swimsuit was really, really well made, and
Haliey has a sweet spot for just kind of
well-made bikinis.
Yeah, and I think Haley's just a good person.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to hurt anyone. She's out to kind of just have fun and be herself. She's authentic. We've said this before with the podcast, but I think a lot of people out there are kind of unfair and quite cruel.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe not giving her the credit she deserves.
Yeah. What do you think of Chelsea's friend trying to fuck Chelsea's bastard ex while wearing Chelsea's clothes? Let me run that back. Chelsea's friend stole Chelsea's clothes and tried to fuck Chelsea's bastard ex from hell. What do you make of that?
She got what was rightfully coming. A fist in the fucking mouth.
That's right. Haliey took care of business on Chelsea's behalf. I thought that was a beautiful indicator of their relationship, of their friendship.
Haliey gave her the Sean Strickland 2 times over,
Yeah.
I mean, just wailed on this girl's face.
Yeah, and I have to ask, does Chelsea's bastard ex have a thing for Chelsea's clothes? Is he attracted to just the clothes that Chelsea wears? First, he had a thing for Chelsea, and then fucked that up, got banished to hell, and then he comes back and wants to have a fling with Chelsea's friend only when Chelsea's friend is wearing Chelsea's clothes. I mean, this is a mess.
This guy's Pennywise.
This guy's got to go on field. I mean, this sounds like a kink.
He's the master of evils, and this kind of behavior shouldn't be tolerated, honestly. Mm-mm. I think we should get Matt Rife to do some fucking crowd work on this guy.
Yeah.
Teach him a lesson.
Show up lethal.
Show up in a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Fucking rebel.
Yeah.
I was going to say rebel without a cause style.
Yeah. Ash a sig on his forehead. Send him packing back to Hollywood or wherever he's deeply ingrained so he can fucking spy on Chelsea. This guy's
Tartarus,
a creep.
Man.
Yeah.
To Tartarus. He's the bane of doom and destruction to all that is holy. Just an absolute shit stain of a fucker.
Yeah. This guy gives me the fucking heebie-jeebies. I hope we don't hear about him anymore. Right. I really hope he's fucking in the rearview mirror.
This guy would even scare Stephen King.
Yeah.
Ugh.
God damn.
Just, look, maybe we could actually set him up with Pookie's ex.
Yeah.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. Send 2 to fucking nowhere. That's a couple that would just be destined for just...
Fucking Judge Holden and Glanton.
Yeah.
Fucking get him out of here.
Yeah. Well, overall, I thought this was a great episode. I thought the energy between the 2 duos was really interesting.
I loved it. It was cool to have a kind of tag team style podcast.
Yeah.
I'm
evenly
excited.
Matched 2v2.
Yeah, and maybe Brianna Chickenfry will come back on, hopefully, to, just kind of ground us with what's going on with Grace, what's going on with Zach.
Yeah, a lot has happened just since this episode came out.
The podcasting community has a right to know.
Yeah.
We're losing a crucial champion, Grace, and
I hope we see her land on her feet during the second Trump administration. I hope she finds a new podcasting outlet and
secures potentially
government subsidized podcasting equipment.
That would be incredible. The queen of the tomboys. Let's take another stab at it.
Yeah.
Dropkick Murphy style.
Yeah, get back in the ring.
But I'm excited to see where they go next week. And if you're just tuning in now, Haliey, she's kind of been MIA.
she's kind of put her feet on the brakes a bit. I think probably she'd been working herself too hard. I mean, she'd gone 13 straight weeks of just podcasting. That takes its toll on someone. This is demanding work, and she has made the most of it, and I think she deserves a break.
But also, I think it's kind of a more sinister side effect of fame today, right? Where it's just that there's this parasocial element where people think they're entitled to everything that's going on with their favorite creators' lives, which, to be fair, we do deserve that as fans. Give it to us. Give us everything now.
We love it. We're greedy little creatures.
But, back in the old day, we have to say that Haliey is more old school, right?
Yeah.
And, speaking of Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean, he'd fucking take his motorcycle out, hit Palm Springs. No one would hear from him for a month.
Yeah.
I mean, Hollywood huge actors, they were always followed by paparazzi, but, they were able to go to their private enclaves.
Yeah. And I think Haliey deserves to be afforded some kind of privacy. If she needs a time off, I mean, it'd be nice to let our stars actually get the rest and recuperation they need when they need it.
This is a time for holidays meant to be spent with your family.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she and Pookie are hanging out. And again, I hope they're being safe.
Yeah.
I hope they're being cautious because, we're dealing with Pookie's ex in his hometown, which God knows where this just absolute
wench.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah, I'm putting it lightly.
We don't know, her haunts around town, if she likes to go to the same coffee spots they like to go to, but she's cruising for a bruising.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, that Pookie's family, we know that they celebrate Thanksgiving the weekend after or the weekend after that of the holiday itself, and it's possible they do that with Christmas and New Year's as well, so it could be like an extended break. We don't know exactly when for sure, if Haliey, when she'll return, and it could just be an extended holiday break, and I think she's earned it. So we'll be happy and ready to cover whatever comes down the pipeline.
Whatever comes down the pipeline, but thank God we have a backlog.
Yeah.
We still have a couple episodes we have yet to review, and I think by the time this comes out...
It'll be New Year's Eve day.
It'll be New Year's Eve because we are backlogging this, guys. A little secret. Podcast production, it's not recorded that day.
No, it's
Sometimes it's recorded a little bit before.
Yeah. And it seems like Brianna went through hell and back between the time that this episode we're covering was recorded and when it came out. So who knows what we'll be going through between now and when this episode comes out on New Year's Eve day.
Well, let's not hope that something affects our friendship.
Yeah, hopefully not. I can't imagine. So, I mean, look, have an amazing New Year's Eve. Celebrate. Stay up till midnight, please. Don't freaking conk out on your couch. Have fun. Ring in the new year. I mean, I hope you enjoy it with friends and family. Thank you for tuning into our show. We hope you learned some new things, took away some new things in relation to Haliey's episode. I hope you go back and watch her episode again with Brianna Chickenfry and Grace O'Malley.
And if you're a first time kind of just dipping your toes in the world of podcasts, go check out Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a treasure trove of content. And I think you're really going to walk away maybe having learned something, having felt some incredible emotions.
Absolutely. So, yeah, welcome to the world of podcasting, if that is you. I mean, you have so much to catch up on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy the new year, and we will, as we say, see you next year.
Yeah. Thanks for spending 2024 with us. Bye.